3-star airline.
ICICI Lombard Health Insurance and CNBC TV18 present India Healthcare Awards 2011.
Healthcare is proving to be one of the fastest growing and most important new sectors in India. This is because of higher public spending, more private investment in the sector and the spread of health insurance, including the hugely successful government National Health Insurance Scheme. We are proud that in just 1 year, the India Healthcare Awards have become the definitive benchmark of excellence for the sector.
Nominations open for all hospitals. For details, log on to hca.moneycontrol.com or SMS HCA to 51818.
Presented by ICICI Lombard Health Insurance. Research partner IMRB.
This is Network 18 and you are watching CNBC TV18.
Welcome back. The market's okay. It's just that on a couple of stocks there are some bumps opening up. Titan Industries is down 2%, but more than what it's losing, the volumes are very big on Titan. It's amongst the top 10 counters today in terms of volumes traded. So huge volumes on Titan today. Keep an eye out on that stock. Orchid as well is beginning to look nervous again, 2% down on that trading stock. And some of the Z faces like Z Entertainment and Dish TV are not doing too well, so 2% down on both of them. Also, interestingly, on Crompton, that stability hasn't lasted very long, so some nervousness creeping into the Crompton stock that is back in the red, and volumes are beginning to pick up on that one as well. But let's talk about a set of numbers that went down well with the market, which is from DB Corp. Girish Agarwal joins in to talk about that. Girish, hi, morning. I think your advertising revenue growth took people by surprise pleasantly, especially considering that you had guided to some moderation. Have you seen that troughing out, the moderation you expected, and which particular business has led to such great traction on ad growth?
Okay, let me firstly clarify that we don't give any guidance. People kept asking us that, what do you think it can grow? So we were conservative in our approach. Actually, the growth which has come at 21% is largely because of the retail market. Almost 60% of our advertising come from retail. Then the people, those who operate from our markets, I guess those are the people, those who are really still pushing the market to get the sales for themselves. And we were able to work really hard with them, especially segments like education, automobile, lifestyle. They were really showing upside growth. The sector which took a beating in spite of all our efforts was the real estate and bit of the banking also.
Girish, morning. There has been some concerns expressed by some of your peers in the sector that maybe advertising growth could slow down or has begun slowing down a bit. Are you sensing any of that in the current quarter at all?
Yes, we are clearly seeing a bit of slowdown on the national market. When it comes to the advertiser, those who are operating out of national market, I think there is a slowdown, but the retail market is still buoyant, and we are putting all our efforts on both the markets, but I guess the response from the retail is far better than the national one.
Can you just take us through which pockets are slowing down specifically, and whether the strength in the retail or regional from the regional clients could be enough to offset the weakness or sluggishness that you're seeing in the national market even going forward?
Yeah, see what happened in the last quarter, we could easily do that. Like we saw that when the national market growth came down to almost closer to a close 10-12%, but the retail market kept growing faster, so the average could be almost 21%. And the segments are very, very clear in the national market. Largely the automobile clients, the banking sector, real estate, they all are really slow. But at the same time, education, bit of government, lifestyle in the retail has able to grow. And the most heartening thing about the retail that the states like Gujarat, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, they all are kind of on the same ratio. Like if you look at one particular market of ours, the growth for the retail is almost 34%.
At this point, most analysts are working at the 16-17% kind of ad revenue growth from you, Girish. While I know that you don't give out a guidance, does that look like an over-ambitious ask, or does that look like something that should be easily attained by DB Corp?
See, generally in a newspaper business, the first half and the third half are important. So in the first half, if my growth is around 21%, then I'm confident that the third half will be really live up to our expectation. So considering that, I guess this momentum should continue unless until something drastic happens on the national scenario. Though we all are concerned about the GDP slowing down a bit, I guess all this does impact the advertising growth also. But looking at the monsoon, which is not too bad, I guess we should be able to sail through.
How soon do you want to launch in Bihar?
We have decided that Bihar launch we are postponing to the next financial year, because this year our focus is on Maharashtra. We have already launched Aurangabad and Nasik, and soon we are going to launch Jalgaon, Amravati, Akola, few more markets in this sector. So I guess 11-12 will put focus on Maharashtra, and then Bihar we would do sometime next year, you know. And especially considering the newsprint prices, because newsprint prices still are not slowing down, though they have kind of stabilized right now, but they are still on a higher number, you know. So considering that, we would like to take it one after other, so that our overall EBITDA margins don't take a hit.
I was just going to ask you about that, Girish, because while you need to expand, these new launches in Jharkhand, Maharashtra and the newsprint prices have taken a bit of an impact on your margins. Going forward, do you think you'll be able to protect margins, or will they get dented further?
See, as a company, what we have decided that X portion of our EBITDA from the mature markets will invest in the emerging markets, the newer markets, and we'll maintain that percentage, you know. So it's not that 1 year we'll suddenly go much higher and much lower. So we'll kind of maintain that. For example, this year we are expecting that almost around 18-20% of our profits, actual profits, will be, you know, plowed back into the new markets. So that's how, from if you look at my EBITDA margin currently is 29%. You know, if you look at my mature additions, my EBITDA margin is almost at 38%. You know, so I'm doing an averaging out in such a way that X per amount of my total EBITDA I'm using in the investment for the new markets.
Good luck, Girish. Thanks very much for joining in today. The stock is up 6%. DB Corp results went down well with the street. There were strong numbers. Stocks moved up to 237. So that's a good result reaction. Move now to another company where the result reaction has been very good yesterday, but was up 10% the stock, and today is just cooling off a little bit, and that's Mindtree. Krishna Kumar Natarajan, Managing Director of Mindtree, joins in now. Krishna, morning. Thanks for joining in. It's a good quarterly numbers after a long time. Would you call this, looking at the two businesses, a turnaround quarter for Mindtree?
Absolutely, Udyan. This is the first quarter after we have declared numbers based on a revised strategy, where we consciously decided to focus on a few segments and deliver significantly higher value in those chosen segments and be the best in that. We've had a 7.3% quarter-on-quarter growth, and the good part of this growth is really both our businesses. IT services continued its stellar performance, delivering a 10.5% quarter-on-quarter growth and a 41.8% year-on-year growth. Our product engineering business, which had negative quarters earlier, after several quarters for the first time has delivered a 1.7% quarter-on-quarter growth. And here again, I think we need to look at it in the context that the product engineering services last year had a significant ramp down from a major client. And if you factor that in, even the product engineering business on a like-to-like basis has grown a little over 4%. So overall, it's been a strong quarter for revenue growth. Clearly, I think the new strategy of focusing on a few segments and being the best in that is paying off. Again, it's just a start. We certainly hope to continue the momentum in the coming quarters.
Krishna, morning. I think you've also indicated that part of this revenue growth has been aided by steep ramp-ups from large clients. Can you just talk a little bit about the pipeline that Mindtree has at this point, and whether you expect to see stable growth between quarters, whether there is clarity on that account?
Yes, Mithali. Clearly, I think the ramp-up has come from some large wins which I've had, particularly one client where we have signed deals a little over 100 million for the next 5 years. On the visibility front, clearly these large accounts and some of the new wins which Mindtree has had in the last quarter is giving us absolute clarity of visibility over the next 2 quarters. Over the last 8-9 weeks, I think, yes, we have started seeing a bit of caution with some of the customers. We do see some delay in decision making. So beyond the 2 quarters, there is a little bit of blurriness which is coming in. But clearly, we are not seeing volatility in our customer budgets. And at this point in time, I would say clearly, I think there is a strong momentum. Certainly for the next 2 quarters, we anticipate maybe in the next 2 to 3 months. Beyond that also, we'll start getting far more better visibility.
What's gone down is a big surprise, Krishna, is the kind of improvement you've had in margins this time round. So two-part question there. A, are you confident of holding margins at this double-digit zone? And B, a lot of analysts are now expecting to see something like a 14% margin tick from you by the end of this year. Is that doable?
Mithali, we don't give a guidance for our numbers, so I wouldn't be able to comment on the 14% number. But the margin growth, clearly we had negative or a headwind 3% due to wage increases and about 0.8% due to the currency appreciation. And the tailwinds on the margin was clearly the strong revenue momentum which we had and the operational efficiency which we've been able to drive in the last 90 days. Our utilization moved up from 70.5 to 72.5%, which certainly aided margin improvement. There was an additional working day in Q1, which also aided improvement of margins. Going forward, certainly we'll continue to push the envelope both on the revenue growth as well as improving operational efficiency. And I'm reasonably confident that quarter on quarter, we will continue to show margin expansion. Clearly on Q2, I think though we will have additional cost increase, there is about 25% of our employee base will get a wage revision from 1st of July. And we are adding about 900 fresh graduates into the company this quarter. Accounting for all of that, we certainly anticipate to show a muted margin growth during Q2.
Where does the products business fit in this piece, Krishna? Because last few quarters, the Kyocera hits were actually muting numbers considerably out there. This quarter too, the products business, which is a third of your overall pie, has grown, but you would want to see that impact getting mitigated further. When can you put those Kyocera impacts behind you firmly?
Udayan, clearly in the next quarter, you'll see that we would put behind some of the Kyocera things and you'll see a stronger growth in our product engineering services in Q2. It certainly has also had a margin impact because in the particularly telephone and networking part of the business, we have carried additional capacity, but clearly the demand momentum is picking up on that and we will convert those capacity into revenue during Q2, Q3. And you would certainly start seeing the product engineering business on a far more better upward trajectory starting from Q2.
Good luck then, Krishna. Thanks very much for taking time out today. But the stock has rebounded, was down 1.5% when we began this conversation. It's up 4% now nearly. So there's been a 5% swing in the last 5 minutes or so. Market still there at 55.76. Let's update you on our commodity trading strategies. We'll come back with more earnings and some global perspective as well. Jim O'Neill of Goldman Sachs joining us in the next few minutes as well.
In commodities pick today, we would recommend to buy the MCX August contract of gold in the range of 23,000 or so, with a stop loss of 22,900 and target in the range of 23,200 to 23,210, 220 levels.
For today, I would be suggesting to buy lead at around 119 to 118.5 kind of a levels. With stop losses placed at 117.80, and one can look for short-term targets close to 121 and 122 levels.
For the day, we look at nickel, which looks like trading in a range of 1052 on the lower side to 107580 on the higher side. So till this band does not break, this commodity would probably continue to remain in a trading range. For the day, the strategy would be look at dips to 1052 to buy with a stop and reverse, that is exit stop loss, book stop loss, and go short on a break of 1050 for an upside target of about 1075 to 1077.
Zinc MCX July contract and a buy could be initiated up to a price level of 108.15 looking out for a target of 109.60 to 110.20 with a stop loss of 106.90.